How are you, man? I'm Gil Roth, and you're listening to a bonus episode of my Virtual Memories Show podcast. This is a sort of hybrid of my COVID check-in episodes I've been doing for the last few months, where I record with a past guest of the podcast to find out how they're holding up during the pandemic, and a full-length episode where I take a brand new guest and sort of find out who they are and how they got that way. In this case, I'm recording with the roommate of a past guest to find out how they're doing, but also getting a better picture of who they are. So more on that in a second. As far as how I'm doing, just kind of on autopilot this morning. I got a big conference call later in the day, but I also got to hit the post office during lunch to start mailing out the first issue of Haiku for Business Travelers, which means I actually have to set foot inside a place that's not my house for the first time since March, like ever. But I'll bear up. You'll be proud of me. So let's get to today's sort of hybrid guest. Steve Prue is joining me this time around. His roommate is yesterday's guest, the writer, adult performer, publisher, etc., Stoya. Now, I met Steve when Stoya and I recorded back in February. The three of us had a fun conversation before Stoya and I sat down to record, and kept shooting the breeze after we wrapped up. So I figured Steve and I should get around to recording sometime. Because he's got an interesting life. Steve is a photographer, and through his Team Rockstar brand, he shoots all sorts of stuff. Fashion, tattoos, fitness, rock stars, and naked people. Lots of naked people. He's the house shooter for the Exotica convention, which has 3 X's, and also shoots at all sorts of tattoo and comic book conventions, but also has clients and shoots on his own. And as he put it in the Kickstarter for his new photo book, Rockstar Road Trip 2020, I meet interesting people with an aversion to pants and clothes most times and shoot them. That's who he is. His photos are just amazing in their range and in their sexiness. And Steve and I also have significant overlaps in our nerd territory. So it was just fun to have an open-ended conversation like this. Now, as caveats go, same mic setup that Stoya had yesterday. There's also a couple of interruptions, which I'll try to edit around. Now, here's me and Steve. How are you dealing? How is...
Well,
we'll get before the current upheaval.
I am an extroverted, free-range Steve.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe.
Like other people, I make my living traveling to interesting places, meeting interesting people, and shooting them, usually in large crowds. Mm-hmm. I like crowds. I like events. I like socializing. As my mother says, I'm a talker. So quarantine, not my favorite. Luckily, I'm an only child, and I can keep myself entertained. Mm-hmm. But 68 days of no other contact other than like weird, socially awkward, socially distant drinks with friends twice, and having Zoom dates and Zoom and like FaceTimey things, just not the same.
I'm with you. Doing this has been
crazy daily runs.
Yeah. And that's, having Strava helps with that. At least that way you can compare yourself and feel inferior to other people who are running
Strava,
the same time as you.
Pay for Strava. Nike Run Club is free.
And there's a free Strava. There's
okay, there is.
Yeah.
I'm like 54 miles invested in on I'm sure Strava's the same way, but Nike Run Club, you have achievements. They totally game theory it, and I'm in. Like I'm one of those video game kids. I'm like, there's 3 more achievements I can unlock. Let's go.
Well, that's how I ended up running the Gil Roth Invitational Half Marathon in my town here in New Jersey a couple of weekends ago. I thought, well, they're going to give me credit if I do over 10 miles, and that dam out on the edge of town is 7 miles away. So what if I figure out a route that'll carry me through an entire town on a Sunday morning at 6:30? And 2 hours later, I made it back home and thought, I'm probably one of those guys who's going to come out of this in weirdly better shape, but have nothing to prove by the end of it all.
I do like a 6K run on Sundays. And then I've been doing I Run with Mod 2.23 mile one.
Yeah.
Because I was like, kind of this week's kind of a reflection week, I guess. Because I'm like, I know enough about racial inequality to be able to talk about it, but not enough to be as calm as I would like to be about it. So I'm like, I've been
Sure.
doing research and listening and all that. But I was like, I'm just running going, man, this is a nice day for a run. Like, I'm feeling okay. I'm like, if two redneck fucks came up and shot me right now, I'd be bummed the fuck out. And I'm like, that I don't want to live in this country if
Yeah.
that's the case. So.
I was going to ask, what's that transition been for you from going from, pandemic quarantine sort of lifestyle into the upheaval we're going through now? Mentally, is it?
I'm good with words, but I'm not great with words. And like, I was talking to a story about this morning. Like, I posted like my black square, and then I posted like information that I thought was like useful, like how to take footage of police officers ethically and safely, like how if you get caught after curfew, like here's who you should call, here's how you should act. Like that's the type of information I would be interested in. And but then I'm like, man, I'm pretty much here to entertain people. So I'd much rather, another photographer friend of mine has been posting his models who happen to be people of color and all that. I'm like, I'm gonna hat tip him, and just that's what I'm gonna do, because I'm like, people don't need to hear what I'm saying. I'm not really saying anything that no one else is saying. But I have pictures that other people do not have of rad people that you should like follow and tip.
I'm gonna ask, and I don't mean to imply anything so much as condemning.
You are goddamn
condemning myself.
You can imply whatever you want.
Oh, I know. With the podcast, I was telling Stoya, I accidentally go months and months and months without having a guest of color. It's almost all white people at times. And I beat myself up about it when I realize it afterwards. When it comes to models you've worked with, do you notice disparities, or do you catch yourself thinking, yeah, no, I'm falling into a certain type here. I need to branch out in terms of just diversity of the people you're shooting?
I work a lot in the burlesque world. I work a lot in like the, pardon the expression, hot tattooed lady world. And they're fairly diverse. If I was like a pinup, no, not even like pinup, but yeah, I mean, there's certain things like if you're a Southern California bikini shooter, you're probably going to shoot a lot of blondes.
Yeah.
No, mine.
So you managed to branch out.
I could always be more diverse. But I mean, a good butt's a good butt, no matter what color it is. I mean, if there's a green alien with a righteous ass, I'll take a picture of it. I'm in.
How'd you get started in photography?
Dad was a photographer, mom's an artist. Always had a camera going off in my face. I'm amazed I can see from the sheer amount of flash bulbs that went off in my eyes before I was 6. How I got into this side of photography is back in the day when everyone had 4 jobs and Silicon Alley was in full swing. I have a head for databases, and dad's an engineer as well. So dad's a seriously advanced amateur and a electrical engineer by trade. So we always had a computer. Like I had one of the first Apple IIs. Like I've always been like, I used to play text adventures. Like I was a kid.
Oh, same thing. My old man would build the kits also, and
Dad's
ham radio was the other thing.
But, Dad has a Heathkit clock that he has had literally my entire life. It's like the Nixie tube digital. But it's awesome. It still works. I keep eyeing that whenever I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll take it. That's retro now, Dad. Because you're retro now, Steve. I'm like, oh man, Dad's a little slippy for being his age. So back, I come to the music industry. I'm gonna try to do the fast version of this. I come to the music industry. I worked with a band called Typo Negative. They were a fairly well-known goth metal band in the 90s, and a drummer is a car guy, like such as myself. And Johnny called me up one day. He goes, "Oh man, have you seen these T-shirts?" It was the first fashion use of the Ford, Chevy, and Dodge trademarks, and all the IP represented by that, because they had never really signed off on it before. They would make like really ugly shirts, but they never really made like fashion forward retro T-shirts, and a company started making those. I'm like, oh my God, these are awesome. Johnny's like, yeah, I'm going to buy this one, this one, this one. I'm like, buy? Who buys? You endorsed. And then they could send some to your friend who got you endorsed. So we got Johnny endorsed, and I get a phone call like maybe a month later going, hey, this is Barbara from this company, and do you know any scruffy rock guys? I'm like, oh my God, that's my entire friend circle.
That's all I know.
What do you need? And they're like, oh, well, we're doing a photo shoot at Coney Island with Dan Howell, and then Indian Larry's wife, Bunny, was the makeup artist, and we're doing and the model's name was Elkie Cooper, and they're like, we're doing a photo shoot with Elkie, and we need some rock guys, we need some dudes in the back just to wear shirts and just not really be just as props. I'm like, oh, I got you covered. I have a 77 Pontiac Firebird. Johnny has a 69 Super B, and we can probably get you one more. Like, we can totally just. So I go, and back in the day when when people were working 2 and 3 jobs, and because Silicon Alley was literally just throwing money at people, I was making $1,000 a month just to keep up with people's databases, and I would have to go into someone else's office for like an hour a week just to do that. I'm like, this is fine. So everyone's like, oh, we need websites, and like Type O Negative was like, we don't quite understand the internet, but we feel that we will be screwed. We would much rather screw you on your rates than be screwed by someone we do not know. And I'm like, science, I'm okay with that. So I built their website. I built some other people's websites, and they're like, hey, we can't really pay you, but here's a digital camera. I'm like, cool, whatever. I'll play with it. So I said, hey, people from this clothing company Motor Brands. Hey, people from Motor Brands, can I take some behind the scenes shots of like my rock guy friends to put onto a Type O Negative's website? You know, like I'm not trying to take pictures of the model. I'm not trying to be the photographer. I just want, and they said, yeah, let's check with the photographer, Dan, who I've worked with since then. And he's like, yeah, no worries. And I said, awesome. So took a bunch of pictures. We get done with it all. And I send the pictures over to Motor Brands and go, hey, here's a bunch of pictures. Can I use these on Type O Negative's website? And they're going, yeah, except for these 4. I'm like, what's wrong with those 4? Like, oh, you're the only guy who has pictures of the shirts that Hot Topic brought in this season. Hot Topic only brought in men's shirts that year.
Yeah.
So they paid me $250 a piece for the pictures. I'm like, people will pay me for this? Hell yeah. So I bought a better camera and took pictures of my friends being rock stars. And then I found out that I could take pictures of people not wearing clothes. And that just seemed awesome because I'm always been a fan of like Richard Kern and Helmut Newton and Charles Gatewood and Playboy and like all that. Like, I do appreciate a fine picture of a naked person. And I was like, oh, I can do that too. And then I came to realize I don't suck at it. And to be honest, the naked people are way easier to deal with when it comes to invoice billing and checks because they don't argue about invoices. They do send the checks, and the checks don't bounce when you get them, unlike the music industry.
Yeah. Is everything well, I've always heard evil stuff from pretty much every music industry related person I've spoken to. So yeah,
Warner Brothers, I'm going to name names. I used to send Warner Brothers an anniversary card every year saying, hey, it's been 2 years since you paid my invoice. It's been 2 years since you paid my invoice. I'm literally like, hey, it's only $250. This is literally the entire new media department's like Starbucks bill for a Wednesday afternoon. Can you please send me my $250 for this thing I shot for you 2 years ago? Well, Mr. Prue, everyone who was involved in this project is no longer with the company. I'm like, yeah, but your company's name's still on my invoice. So someone needs to pay this.
You'll need to reissue that and fill out our new payment system. Yeah.
Oh, don't give me. I've had that where they're like, well, you have to print out this normal release form that every other company in the world lets you fill out electronically, and do it in blue pen and mail it to us.
Yeah,
so we can pay you for this $200 job you did 4 months ago. Like, nice. That was a tough one. I actually had to decide if I actually want to go mail something for $200. Like, I will. Man, this is irritating. Like $20,000? Sure, I'm there. I'll hand deliver it. I'll send a courier with a cap.
Oh, I've had this with the trade association I run. People ask, is there any way to join like as individuals for just, $1,000 for a year? And I tell them, it will cost me more to hunt you down and get the money.
Oh yeah.
Than it would just join through your company at $5,000 to $20,000 a year, and I will feel more comfortable about sending the invoice. But,
completely.
Yeah, it's.
But then Mariah Carey, my friend used to work over at Sony, and he worked in Tommy Mottola's office, and he said that when Mariah Carey, like to get her $25 million like check for when she signed. They literally write it out. They send it. It has to be couriered to Japan, signed in Japan, couriered back, and then it's literally mailed to Mariah.
Again, you want to check, or it's either that or one of those giant joke checks they give away at golf tournaments.
I keep asking people. I'm like, can I get one? Can you just pay me like one of the giant big checks just so I can bring it to the bank, like Happy Gilmore?
Yeah, I was gonna say the Happy Gilmore thing where he's driving around with a bunch of those stuck in the back of the car.
That movie, once again, another movie holds up.
Oh yeah, my wife and I were just talking about that a couple days ago. If we like Billy Madison was on, we're like, if it was Happy Gilmore, we'd be sticking with this one for the next hour and a half.
But, oh yeah, no, Happy Gilmore's funny all day. Like it's a great Carl Weathers role. It's a great
Bob Barker.
Yeah, what's wrong, bitch? I watched Scott Pilgrim vs. the World twice in 2 days and not mad about it in the least.
Nice. Yeah. I never liked the last third of it. But
you didn't like the G-Mans. You don't like the
just the big build up at the end just got a little too directly into video game life. But everything else,
video game kid, so I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah,
So,
have you basically have there been like binging sort of behavior during this in terms of movies, TV, games for you?
My problem is that I have to have, if I'm editing and it's repetitious stuff, I need some type of visual noise. Because I have a touch of the ADHD.
So you two are made for each other.
Yeah, so I have to turn. I normally have something on my iPad playing regardless. So I watched all of Bob's Burgers, most of Bones. I quite enjoyed The Politician on Netflix.
Oh, I think I saw signs for that in the subway, but I never saw the show.
It is good. You will. It's by
I'm writing it down.
It's by Ryan Murphy, who did Glee and American Horror Story, and it is fantastic.
It's got the bi storyline or something in it.
Yeah, but it's like Election except even darker.
Nice, which is plenty dark to begin with.
Yeah, this is even darker, but this was, and there's some twists you don't see coming. Like I'm like, oh, I'm in. Like I've watched a lot of movies. I ripped the last 100 of my DVDs, so now I have everything on my Plex server, so I can. And I realize I have great taste in shitty movies.
I stand by Hudson Hawk. That's still my apotheosis of shitty movies that I will throw at anybody. But
Andrew Bernhardt was so good in that,
and Richard E. Grant,
and
world domination. Yeah. Oh God, it was
that was a good absurdist movie. Like sometimes you need a good absurdist movie. I'm totally hip. It's like I've been catching up on editing, which is great. I finally laid out my book that was sitting that I was supposed to do right as everything got started, but I was like, it's a book about like called Rockstar Road Trips, and it's all pictures from when I would travel and take pictures of people, and I'm like, I don't think I can just stand and I just can't sit in my room after 60 days of not going out, not traveling, to edit a book about traveling and going places. Like,
yeah, how tough is it to see all the places you can't go?
And there was like a good week or 2 weeks of me just staring at the screen over that project, just feeling useless. I'm just like, I can't even muster. But my big two motivating factors are like, man, this is stupid, and man, this is unproductive. And when those two kind of kick in, I'm like, yeah, that is dumb, and I don't like being unproductive. So it came out I think it came out better for me sitting on it for a couple weeks. Because it's tough to write a book once again about being like hanging out and doing things until you found out that like literally my idea of being a tourist is I get to go and stare at Story's bathroom upstairs.
But yeah, tell me about the remote shoots that you've been doing and what they entail.
And I don't. I'm a very tactile visual person, so I generally when I do a photo shoot, I like camera in hand, the feel of the twisting a dial to make it do something. I hit the shutter button, you can hear the camera click. I can focus on what I want. I can compose how I want. I can make micro movements to make sure that the framing is how I like. Remote shooting is me hitting a white button on a screen, hoping for the best, that the model can A, make sure that she knows where her light is, B, keep the pose inside in the screen, And I'm like, I just want the models to do what they do best, which is make good lines and throw a good face. Like I don't, but I don't really do it with anyone I don't know because a lot of times it's just so I've come to realize that a bunch of my socializing involves me chatting with people while I'm shooting them.
Yeah.
And so
I find that hard to believe because you seem so quiet and reticent.
know,
I'm just kidding.
I'm like a library book. I've shot maybe 2 people I don't know, but I've chatted with them before all this, and everyone else is people I've known for years. So it's a lot of catch up between shooting, and but I mean, remote shooting is neat. Like if the connections is all based on the connection. If you have a great connection, I can actually take my camera, line it up, and take pictures of my screen and shoot big old fat raw files that I can just F with all day. And those are neat.
No shit. I assumed you were working off of their camera stuff, but that's.
I'm not gonna try to text explain this, but there's 3 ways to do remote shoots. There's 3 ways to capture everything remotely. I can, if we're FaceTiming, there's the white button that shows up. I click that. It takes a picture from your iPhone camera or Apple device. It makes a fairly small file, but it's perfectly, there's no connection issues because it's your camera taking a picture of you. The problem is this is a small file and it just gets sent to me when there's lag in the connection where there's space to dump a bunch of bits that way. If the connection's good, I can do a screen cap, which is a bigger file, but then I have to kind of make sure I put like some form of cartoony character over my face in wherever my window is, because I've seen my face when I'm taking pictures, and I'm amazed any of these people call me back after seeing my face in these things because I look scary. And then if the connection is really good, and it depends also on lighting, I can take my actual camera, put it on a tripod, and then I just make sure everything's squared up to the screen. I can actually shoot my screen, but then I get to compose what I'm taking a picture of versus whatever's on their screen. So a lot of times it'll be a combination of the 3. It's better files versus better connection.
Yeah. Is there any way to get better at it? Any skill you picked up in the process, or is it really, like you say, contingent on how good your connection is?
I'm real good at directions, so it's never. It's more of. I also don't approach it like I see some remote stuff. I'm like, my God, that looks great. It looks like you were, and I'm like, oh man, they must have taken like 100 pictures just to make it look like they were there in real life. I'm like, I don't ever try to make any more than like, these are glorified selfies that you don't have to worry about actually taking the picture. All you have to do is just hold the camera so you're pretty much in it and just make your poses and make your face. And I don't try to put lipstick on the pig, so to speak. Like not there's any pigs involved or lipstick or anything like that, but I don't try to gussy it up and say, oh my God, we were creating art via remote. Nah, whatever. It's something to do until I can do live shoots again. I will never begrudge another live shoot, Gil, ever.
Yeah.
I miss shooting live. But I quite enjoy it. I've had great success with the remote stuff. I also don't want to charge people because then there are too many factors that like could lead to a shitty shoot. Like if your connection sucks, we're fucked. If you don't understand lighting or you can't find your light, we're fucked. Like I would be charging someone and then not delivering on what other people. It really literally
their failings. Yeah,
it depends on how good your lighting is. It depends on how good you can hold a phone. It depends on how good of a model you are. Like cam girls, fucking awesome. But now I'm afraid that every model I'm gonna shoot nowadays is going to ask if I can put like so they can see themselves.
Right. Yeah, I have the same thing, and again, it's not my livelihood, but doing this instead of, as you saw, just sitting down with a guest and shooting the breeze with them in person. You know, this is very far second best. I much prefer
soothing voice, Gil, and I in my heart of hearts, you're wearing a really good suit right now.
That's the funny thing. I have not worn anything but sweatpants or running shorts since maybe March.
I can hear you.
But every morning I wake up, my closet doesn't have doors because we're after about 20 or 30 years, I might get them replaced. And every morning I look at all the suits and all the dress shirts in my closet and think, I'm going to be wearing these again someday. God knows when. for 2.5 months now, it's been, t-shirt, ratty cardigan, and running shorts.
Oh, please tell me.
And the hair too. The hair's been a big thing.
Oh, don't get me started. I look scruffy. I got interviewed as a celebrity wedding photographer yesterday on a Zoom meeting. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go take a shower. I gotta shave. I gotta wear a shirt that doesn't say like for nudes. And I'm like, so is this, like, how's this gonna be edited? And they're like, oh, we're gonna take the audio and just make it into a podcast. I'm like, I took a shower for nothing. It's not like a real shirt. Like I'm totally wearing my joggers because you're running right after that, but still. Please tell me your pants have like leather elbows at least.
I wish. I got to do something. The cardigans are just falling to pieces. I actually could patch them up and try and look all intellectual like that. But yeah, it's been
Totally go Kirk.
Yeah, I know. I've only had to do one. It's not my color, that faded lime green thing, but I've only had to do one video Zoom this whole time. Like everybody has, we're doing a video con. I'm like, yeah, I'll call into that. Yeah, because I'm just not going to do it.
Picture of me, and I've learned I suck at the Zoom. I have to have, because I'm tall, all my normal cameras are low, so I actually had to go into my parts, like into my cinema bin, and pull out like a magic arm, a super clamp, a light. I have a vanity light, and it all clamps up above my computer so I can get my, and I have to do everything on my phones because my phone's the newest one, and I had to get up a little bit higher. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, I have friends who have been stacking their laptops up on like a dozen books so that they can angle the camera on the monitor just to be tilted down a little bit so it's not looking right up my nose. And I avoid the whole shebang. Let me ask you, with photography, training at all? Or, if self-taught, are there things from the early days that you just cringe when you look at that? Oh, I can't believe
I have good days and bad days. I'll go look at my old work and go, man, I used to be great. And then I look at the stuff from like same time period, like a week later, and go, man, I was horrible. There are certain skills I think that I was much better at than I'm now. Like I wish I used to have a photo studio, and I shot in like 4 days a week, and I literally did almost nothing with studio lighting 4 days a week for like almost 4 years. Like I was great at studio lighting, but I don't do very much studio lighting nowadays. Maybe like 1 or 2 lights, nothing crazy. This was like 5, 6, 7 light setups, like glorious. Mm-hmm. So it's been, I think there's parts of my photography that are better. I think there are parts of photography that I need to do more of. I will never be a street photographer because it's just not my bag, baby, to quote Austin Powers. I have no desire to. What's funny is here in the neighborhood, because we live in a slightly hipster-ridden neighborhood nowadays, it's all a bunch of like Euros running around with like Leicas around their necks, all trying to capture like the faces of the pandemic. Yeah. And I literally have seen like 6 of them in like the last week, just wandering around trying to find like things to document.
Yeah. As opposed to naked people and tattoos.
This week's been Riot Week, but before then, like right at the height of the pandemic, literally just Euros wandering around in like masks and Leicas in my neighborhood.
Yeah, it's I've got a pal who I recorded with early in this whole series who photojournalist. He'd been shooting nurses and essential workers, et cetera, during all this down in Philadelphia. But, it's got to be the thing you're comfortable doing. And even there, he talked about some flash he brought with him, weighs like 5 pounds. It's from the 1980s. It's just been sitting in his closet all these years, but he finally realized the purpose for it was exactly this sort of setup, shooting at a distance, social distance, and, being able to light people up at 6:30 in the morning for a picture.
Oh, it's probably the big potato masher looking one.
He described the name of it. I can't even remember, but everything he was telling me, it was like, I finally found the purpose for this.
It's a big flash with a big battery, and it gives you a really big flash, and you can, because then you don't have to get up on someone. You don't have to get in someone's grill. Yeah.
That's his whole thing. Everything had to be done in a distance, and he couldn't have an assistant, et cetera. So running around Philadelphia with that stuff.
Great. Like, I think that stuff's neat. Like, I have no desire to go shoot the protest because A, no one's paying me, and B, I'm a 6'4", heavily tattooed dude,
Yeah.
white dude with a really big camera, and I'm just a target. Like,
I was gonna say one of those tattoos should be a bullseye, basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
if someone's good, it's like my ex-wife is a fifth degree black belt in Taekwondo, and I would go to like I always get invited to go drinking with all the black belts after black belt class. They're like, oh, we like Steve, from I'm going to tell you, if you're in a room full of a bunch of black belts and you do not have yourself have a black belt, you're usually the first one to get punched because they're all like, oh, Steve Kerr, let me demonstrate something. Yeah, so
Yeah.
same thing. Like I feel
Grab my wrist.
yeah, if someone's going to get punched, targeted, whatever, it's going to be the tall dude with the camera. So I'd rather not be that dude.
Understood. And with burlesque, was that an offshoot of hanging with rock and roll people? Or was that an area?
I like Flash. I like glitz. I think the world needs more rock stars. I think the world needs more showgirls. Like, I kind of hit that wall when I was coming up in like the age of grunge, and I was like, man, I cannot pay $20 to see 5 dudes on stage that pretty much look like me.
Yeah.
I want like rock.
Yeah, it was ugly,
Oh no, I mean I love grunge music. Oh, some of my favorite, like I love Soundgarden. But they all look. Oh, yeah, well, Chris Cornell was a beautiful man, but in general, I'm just like it's a bunch of dudes who look like me, wearing basically exactly what I'm wearing right now, who just happen to be facing the other way. They're facing the audience. I'm facing the stage. So I won't lie though. I got into Kiss late, so. When I finally understood Kiss, I'm like, oh man, I was in my 20s. I'm like, now I totally understand Kiss. Black Sabbath's still better.
Yeah, but at least you understood as a concept what they were doing.
Oh yeah, World Needs More Rock Stars. Like this is like the distillation of rock star. Black Sabbath still writes better songs, performs better, and is way cooler. But I get it.
Yeah,
I like Black Sabbath, obviously. Burlesque, same thing. I like the glitz. I like the glamour. I like the cleverness. There's a lot of clever in burlesque. For the record, burlesque people I like people who like having their photographs taken. Burlesque people, like rock stars, like having their picture taken.
Were there any rock stars you shot who you were totally freaked out and intimidated around?
No, not really. Because I work for iHeart as a backstage celebrity photographer. Nobody really phases me anymore. I told Sia when I shot her that because you can't shoot Sia except when she's in her wig.
Yeah, or when I was just about to say, she doesn't like to be.
You can't shoot Marshmallow without the helmet on, without the mask he wears. And so, like in the last shot of Sia, I said, "Oh man, I may have to do that again." You blinked, and she goes, "That's funny." I'm like, "Yeah, it is." Oh, Britney Spears. Britney Spears gave me a little bit of pause. She talked to me.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. And I assume this was, at the time.
No, this was 3 years ago, Vegas.
Oh no shit.
She opened up the iHeart Festival, and she did pictures with my boss, and she goes, "Can I see that?" I'm like, "Oh yes, Miss Spears. Here you go. Great show." Yeah, Brittany gave me Brit kind of. I had some feels, but the funny part is that everyone, like all the production people, like these are hardcore professional production people. Like these, literally, this is their day job. And they're all at the producer's desk, which is where the director and all that, and all the screens are, and everyone's calling for the cues and all that, are sitting, and then and you can literally see like she came out and did. Britney bitch into like Oops I Did It Again, and you can literally see everyone doing like the Britney shoulder shrug. And I'm like, yeah, the words. So I didn't get to shoot it because they were only together for like a hot second, but I was dying to shoot Billy Idol and Miley Cyrus together.
Nice. That's a hell of a combo.
Miley does great covers.
Yeah. Oh, she's got a acoustic of 50 Ways to Lose Your Lover. That's just, it's fucking amazing.
Have you heard her, the Saturday Night Live, Wish You Were Here?
Yeah. I was thinking, I remember she'd just done one for the remote SNLs. Yeah.
That was fantastic. But she sounds like a young Dolly Parton. You know what? I'm there for it. I love Dolly.
Yeah. Again, I'd never heard her, performing in the her bigger pop days. And then I heard that cover. I'm like, oh, she's really good. Okay.
Very good. She's definitely Billy Ray's daughter. Like Billy Ray, you can make fun of Billy Ray as long as the day is long, but Billy Ray has a voice on him, and he is a great songwriter. And I loved him in in Old Town Road. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Billy Ray's not afraid to be Billy Ray Cyrus. Chris Gaines, on the other hand, not so much. But yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Farthest you traveled for shoot?
Iceland. And that was even, Iceland was interesting. Iceland was effing cold. Let's just talk about the fact that I was in Iceland with Stoya in February.
Yeah.
I'm from North Carolina, Gil. We are firm believers that if you don't like the weather in North Carolina, if you wait 10 minutes, it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
Iceland is more like 7 minutes, and it's going to change into something you don't want.
Yeah.
We were literally, this is going to sound real hipster millennial name dropping. So we're in the ice caves, and it is beautiful bluebird sky, fluffy clouds, and you're like, oh, this is lovely. And then we come out of the ice caves. 6 minutes later, it is white out blizzard condition, and there's Stoya in a fur coat, bra and panties, yelling at the snow and screaming at the photographers to take her picture. Damn it. Then the guy who arranged the whole thing was like, oh, Stoya, you got like 3 more minutes. And Stoya looks and goes, I can keep going. You just, boys, shoot. So she shot with that. And then literally 6 minutes after that, it was raining with rainbows.
It's one of those places I've always wanted to see. Admittedly, Stoya in leather bikini would be cool too. But
it was awesome. Bring a lot of money.
It's the Navy Bordel, and yes, it's very expensive.
It was fancy.
Awesome.
Bring lots of money because unlike England, which was having a very weak pound to a weirdly strong dollar, it was very expensive. I literally stopped doing conversions in my head because I was like, oh, I'm only paying $9 a bottle of water. That's great. Yeah, it's an island, obviously.
And
that's the furthest I've traveled. I've driven from Vancouver to LA taking pictures of naked people the whole way. That was fun. Technically, I drove across the country taking pictures of Stoya in various.
Yeah, I think did she write about that?
Yep, we did a book.
Or was that in a? Yeah.
Well, we did a book.
Yeah, what's the
other things, but that was kind of the thing that held it together.
The goal with Rockstar Road Trips? Is there a publisher, or is it something you wanted to finish up first?
I have a whole bunch of stuff. I have stupid amount of content. Like I'm sitting on 14,000 dirty Polaroid scans. As literally a motorcycle right there. A nice motorcycle, Italian motorcycle. And I was like, and all my friends were like, you should do a Kickstarter book. I'm like, I can do a Kickstarter book. I've done a couple small books, but I've never done like something that's in that involved. And it was fun. A Kickstarter is an interesting thing to do. I am actually about to go into pre-flight for it, so I'm very excited about that. It's literally I had 3.5 proofreaders. I have a crazed librarian friend who will defend the use of the Oxford comma until death, and I'm not throwing her like hyperbole around about like that. Like she will, she is very firm on the Oxford comma. So she went through and did all the text. I have a friend of mine who was a graphic designer who went through just for kind of like overall look and flow. I have a friend of mine who was on a lot of the Rockstar Road Trips with me, like as the navigator, a venture buddy, and model when I just needed someone to shoot. And she went through for just the whole rock starriness of it.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend of mine who's like one of my favorite photographers in the world, is also one of my best friends in London. I had him go through it just pictures, like should things be moved around? And he's very English and very polite. So I was waiting for, oh, Steve, just one little teensy thing. It's not that you just really need to scrap it all and start from the beginning.
Yeah. If you just reorganize the entire structure. Yeah.
But no, it's great other than that.
Yeah.
So everything, Stoya does an afterword. It's fun. It's a fun book. I realize that I have so much content that this book this is like the tip of the iceberg, so to speak.
Sure. Yeah. Are you getting ideas for other projects you want to pursue once you're able to get out and
I just
shoot?
want to take pictures of people and not over the internet.
Yeah.
I actually have a live photo shoot tomorrow, and I think I have at least, I know I have one on Sunday, And I think I have one on Saturday with someone who I haven't gotten to shoot in a while, who I quite enjoy shooting. So she's fantastic.
Live.
Live and like, well, within 6 feet, but,
Yeah.
but she's, my friend Emily is a Ellen von Uwerth muse and literally can't take a bad picture. Even her shitty pictures are amazing.
Yeah, isn't it incredible when you get that?
Disgusting. She knows her angles. She can find the light. She can find the light in a pitch dark room. I'm like, how did you do that? I'm like, I've worked in theater most of my pre-adult life, and I have 50-year-old like actresses who've been on the training the boards their entire life who can't find the light as well as you do. So
people are natural.
I'm looking forward to that. I am looking forward to eating food that's not made by me, because I'm going to cook in the house.
Yeah.
Just to tell you how dire stuff's getting, Gil, I'm baking bread and making unironic ambient soundscapes.
I was wondering, are you the sourdough starter hipsters,
No,
or has that
is fucking emo twee cooking? No, my sourdough starter had to be buried at sea after a very unimpressive life, and it was not going to get early admission into a good Ivy League, a good East Coast Ivy. Simon didn't even live long enough to have a name. He was Proto Simon. Now, straight up 4-ingredient bread, no need, amazing. I've made challah that my extremely Jewish lawyer friend said, it's serviceable. And you know what? Yeah. I'll take it.
Again, you got to raise the bar somewhere. That's
yeah. I like baking. It's I'm a son of an engineer, so I like it's very precise. I don't like baking because it's very precise.
I will send you how I make coffee someday, because
I have more than one coffee tattoo, Gil.
Yeah, I know you're a coffee guy. It's actually one of my rock star friends asked me, because he was here at my house for Thanksgiving. I made coffee for everybody for desserts, and he wrote me a couple of weeks ago with, "Do you mind like telling me exactly how you make that really amazing coffee?" And I was like, "This is the moment I've waited for my entire life," and just put together this literally second by second process that I use for making.
What's your weapon of choice?
Oh yeah, I'll hit you up with the two different models for the Chemex and the Kalita, because one is for two people, the other's a one hitter.
Pour over. Do you do? Yeah. What's the really controversial one?
Oh, there's the AeroPress that
I love my AeroPress.
Yeah, I don't know. I've only done pour over with those two. I've tried a couple of other formats, but those are the two main ones that I use. If you go to brewmethods.com, I think there's 10 bazillion different ways of doing this.
People say, "Hey, Steve, how do you take your coffee?" I'm like, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah. I just, you have to bite your tongue and just have these are normal people. It's okay.
These are the norms. I tend to do, I do a reverse AeroPress.
Yeah. That's how, when I used AeroPress, that was the style that I used also, that flip.
The whole double flip. Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah.
I don't like the double flip. I don't like the flip onto it. I'd rather just build it from there and go from there.
I'll send you the coffee breakdown there.
I have not gone. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 different ways to make coffee in this house. 5. Yeah. Counting Stoya's Instant.
Yeah, I have optimized, much like my podcast gear. I have optimized a living hell out of, because I had to. Well, as sure you do. Also, you take gear with you when you're on the road, so you don't get caught with shitty coffee.
God no.
So yeah,
I'm not savages, Gil.
That's it. I'm doing 30 years too late. I finally put out a zine. I sent it off to the printer earlier today. And because I thought of this in the early 90s and just got around to it now. But
you're going to get along great.
Yeah, this is what I'll send you guys a copy when I get it back. I've got the mailing address for the time I visited.
It was very nice that you sent it, and she'll appreciate it that you made it, and that you're a friend, and that she's glad you made it. I will go through it because I'm a coffee person.
Yeah, and that's my thing. The second issue is just going to have like a 2 or 3 page feature on this is how I make coffee. This is everything that's going to be in there, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Maria likes the idea that she like making coffee. She does not care how you make coffee. she likes the idea that you documented it, and she will love to peruse that. But it will.
But I don't need to go through all those steps myself. But there's that ritual sense thing.
And try it. Yeah, I'm very excited for this.
Cool. All right, man. I'll send you that stuff momentarily. But any last words? Anything you want to share with our loving audience?
Have a great day and do good things.
I'm willing to leave off with that. Steve, last question. Are you reading? Do you get any reading done? I have no idea if you're.
I just read Youngblood, which was like a Kindle free thing for the month, and it was a near science fiction one. I am in the process of about to read. I love R. Kadri stuff. So he's the guy who did Sandman.
Oh, good. He's been on a few times. We're pals.
Has he? So, yeah. Please, first of all, he and I have like an ongoing like Instagram love affair. I adore him. Like, I love his speed. I love his sense of things. I like his books. I am now reading The Dark City.
Oh, The Grand Dark.
That's it. I'm reading The Grand Dark. And
it's so good. Yeah.
And one of his last author photos was taken by my friend Conan, who passed away due to just shittiness. And we bonded over that. Oh no, I love his stuff. Like, I like his sense of humor, and I'm very excited for the next Sandman Slim book.
Awesome. And we connected a few years ago and stayed in touch. We've recorded a few times now, and he's good people.
Oh yeah.
And he does great sexy pictures too.
Yes, he does.
Not of him.
Well, I've totally been like, you need to do, as long as the Sandman Slim book is done and being proofread or being sent to the printer, you can do whatever you want. You should do more of that. But if it's going to keep you from writing, don't do that. Because
and he's got the fake pulp covers and the oblique strategy jokes and all that.
If you happen to just tell him that he knows I'm a fan, but I am a fan. So I try to I just haven't. I've enjoyed.
Oh, I will totally connect you guys after this because that's.
We chatted. We DM'd. Oh, I know how that came up. So I used to be a book hoarder. Well, they called it being a book collector. My wife called it being a hoarder. I have both his catalogs of Cool from the 90s.
Oh, shit.
I
only go back to Metrophage from like 91 or so.
Oh, yeah. I pulled both of those out. I was going through, I had 37 boxes of books. I'm like, man, I got to get this down to like something resembling reasonableness. So, and I went down from 37 to 20. And I was taking a bunch of books to be sold at the local like used book CD DVD joint, and I'm flipping through catalog of Cool, and I'm like, oh, I remember these. Like, this is like, because I'm a big fan of the oral history of the internet, and like when we used to stay up late and stuff like that. And I love books about like rock history, like this Ain't No Disco, the story of CBGBs, like the oral history of. I like all of that. Like, I like history that I can connect with. Like, I don't understand 50s cars because I just didn't have any. I don't really get 50s music because I don't really have a connection with it. But like all that early 80s, 90s techno stuff is where that's where I grew up. So, but yeah, he did a catalog of Cool and catalog of Cool 2.
I got to look this stuff up. Jeez, that's why I love doing the show, because everybody connects me to more great stuff.
Right? So yes, please tell R. Kadri that I love his stuff and I'm a fan. But we did a whole new cool thing over sexy pictures, and the really cute little brunette bird / timekeeper over there just informed me that I have 30 minutes until I have to go do my shoot, and we have to go put her into something cute and take pictures of her. So, it was so.
I hope I get to see them.
Chatting. Thank you so much.
And that was Steve Prue. Go check him out on Instagram at TMRonin, which is TMRONIN. That's the easiest way to learn more about his stuff, because there's a link tree link in his bio that has lots of other resources for checking out and supporting his work, including his Patreon, OnlyFans, ManyVids, but also the main Team Rockstar Images site, as well as Hello Naked Stuff, which is his not safe for work naked stuff, but also his Vimeo and all these other ways of checking out the really neat photo and video work that he does. I of course, have to make the disclaimer, not safe for work, blah, blah, blah. But, you can handle the sexiness. And we'll be back tomorrow with another COVID check-in episode. That one will be with Dylan Horrocks, the great New Zealander cartoonist. We got to talk one day after New Zealand officially declared an end to lockdown within the country because they had 0 COVID cases. So it's kind of celebratory, but also sucks because the rest of us are not going through what New Zealand is currently going through. Anyway, you can visit vmspod.com and chimeraobscura.com/VM to find a link to the COVID-19 sessions, which has all of these daily episodes I've been doing since March. You can also subscribe to the Virtual Memories Show via iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcatcher to make sure you get every episode. And you can also go to the sites and those feeds to find the 370 or so in-person ones I recorded in the before time. Now, if you can spare anything, don't give it to me. The only support I really want is emails, just emails or postcards. Just tell me what you think of the show. Tell me what I should be doing better, etc. But if you have money to spare, if you've got resources, there are plenty of ways you can help people. For artists and writers and other creative people, go find their Patreons, Kickstarters, GoFundMes, Indiegogos, whatever, their tip jars, whatever it is, and show them a little love. If you'd rather donate to a cause instead of an individual, there are plenty of charities in need right now, both related to the pandemic and now related to freedom funds, bail funds, and more tied into the protests that are going on. So what I'm saying is, if you've got anything to spare, help people, okay? I'm Gil Roth. It is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020, and this was a bonus episode of my Virtual Memories Show podcast. Thanks for listening. Keep the conversation going, stay safe, and wash your damn hands.